So there I was, standing in an empty room, wondering what went wrong. I couldn't think, I could hardly breathe. It was like the air had been sucked out of my lungs and into the gaping maw of defeat and loserliness. But then, the autoplay on my Anchor podcast player started the latest episode of The Brad Johnson Show, and I knew what I had to do. That right there is a little testimonial that we got the other day. It's the reason that I keep doing this podcast for people like that guy. And I also make a ton of money doing this too. But really, at the end of the day, my answer to your burning questions saves you from a fate worse than death. And yes, I'm talking about hashtag loserliness. Don't let this happen to you. Listen and learn. Hit it, James.
Brad Johnson Show. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Blast off. Welcome to the Brad Johnson Show.
I'm Brad Johnson, and I'm turning losers like you into winners like me.
The Brad Johnson Show with your host, Brad Johnson.
Get ready to start winning.
And now your host, Brad Johnson.
Yo, people, it is your host right here, the one, the only Brad Johnson. You want the best, you got the best. And also, James Kirkland as the assistant to the host. So there's both of those things going on. So welcome to the Brad Johnson Show, where I'm turning losers like you into winners like me.
And I'm the one and only James Kirkland, as you may have wondered.
We already covered that, James. Okay. Okay, where was I? James, you get me off my flow. Anyway.
Just finished the intro.
Goodness. Okay. Man. So anyway, we're already. It's okay. Just cut that out. We'll redo that. Okay, we're getting into some burning questions today. Super stoked about this, people, because it's going to change your life and rock your world. But before we get to that, James, we've been talking a little bit about this, but I think the people need to know. I'm afraid I'm going to have to move.
Yeah, it's kind of a crisis, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I love my house, but it's like my neighbors, and it's summertime, and they're in their bathing suits, and it's like, man, you shouldn't be wearing that. Like,
yeah.
Do you have an Eskimo suit? Like, I mean, even that would probably not be enough. But
yeah, it's kind of hard to watch, honestly.
Yeah. I think what I'll probably end up doing, though, instead of moving, is just buy their place and just demo it. Maybe put up some like Airbnbs there or something like that. Maybe like a co-working space, something.
Yeah. Maybe
that would be
turned into a guest house or something.
Yeah, hashtag Instaballer right there. That's what I do. Yeah, write that idea down, James. Let's make that happen.
Okay, I got it.
I want to expand my land holdings here on the coast and also not have neighbors. So make that happen. Okay, on this show, I'm going to help you salvage the wreckage of your life through my tried and true answers that are guaranteed to change your life, maybe even for the better. But before we get to those burning questions that are just eating you alive from the inside out and the outside in, it's time for a word from our sponsor.
Tired of boring old cereals? Ready to put some zing in your morning? Introducing Crunchy Milky Breakfast Soup, the cereal that gets your day started right. Forget breakfasting like a champion. Up your game and try the breakfast of winners. Crunchy Milky Breakfast Soup is not your average cereal. Health and nutrition flow through every bite with 100% divided whole grain wheat substitute and absolutely no fake artificial ingredients that are not real. This cereal is your ticket to a new life. Vegan, gluten-free, paleo, sugar-free, non-GMO, natural, organic. These are all good things that you could try eating. But now, it's time to try Crunchy Milky Breakfast Soup. Crunchy Milky Breakfast Soup, the breakfast of winners.
All right, just had myself a bowl of that actually before starting the show. That's what I use for pre-workout and pre-show. I think it's important to be as pumped up as you can be, and I don't think people realize how physical doing a podcast is.
Yeah, it's kind of a great pre-anything. Honestly, you can grab a bowl of it before just about anything. It works great in just about every situation.
Yeah, you just said that. So obviously, because we produce it right here at BJS Industries, and we're answering the world's questions. And one of their questions is, what should I have for breakfast? And the answer is obviously Crunchy Milky Breakfast Soup. So make that happen, people. All right, so James, we've got a very special episode. These are practical questions, and we all know what that means.
Practically, yes.
Okay. Just so yeah, people sent these in. Well, actually, no, people didn't send these in, did they?
No, they
there
weren't sent in.
we had a communication lapse. Something happened. It was totally one of the VA's fault.
Yeah, it was a fluke.
He's been fired, right?
Yeah, his name was actually Fluke.
Wow. Oh, that's fitting. Yeah, so he is completely fired right now, and we are going to have to supplement today with some practical burning questions that aren't necessarily from listeners, but they're things that I know that you guys have thought before. Because, I do a lot of coaching, and I get into people's brains, and I've seen these questions before, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, you really have to get into the headspace of the people that you're trying to help, especially when you're trying to drag them from such lows of loserliness.
Exactly. All right, so let's just dive right into these because, it's all about just diving into things. And that's why I have a pool and live by the ocean. And also, as any other thing that I need to dive into, that's what I do. So let's do that here as well, too.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I could have said it better myself. Number 1. What's the one quality that everyone must have?
Okay, so like I said, I know these are practical questions that everybody's talking about and thinking about. Even if they're not talking about it, they're thinking about it with their brain.
Right.
So
they should be.
I want to answer them because I know that you've thought it, and that's what this type of an episode is all about, is answering those questions. So the one quality that everyone must have. Now this takes a lot of thought because there's so many qualities. I mean, there's tons of them. I mean, basically anything that ends with an adjective is a quality. And
well, you also have high quality, low quality, quality assurance, quality
furniture,
disassurance. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many types of qualities and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'd say the one, though, that trumps them all, and I think you probably saw this coming, is definitely going to be winnerliness, okay? That is the quality that, as a business owner, as an employer, as a multinational conglomerate owner and president and CEO and board chairman, I would say that that's the one that always wins out. It's like I'm looking at other people and it's like, okay, what is the one characteristic? And boom, right there. Yeah. It's always right there.
That adjective form of the word is so powerful. It just shows that it's not just a noun or a verb, that it is an adjective. Yeah, and sometimes a verb or an adverb, I would say.
Yeah, it's one of those words that can be anything you need it to be, as long as you're the type of person that actually needs that. Because there are a lot of people that don't. Let's just be honest, guy.
Yeah, it's very true. And actually, you can even use it as an interjection. You can shout "win" as you move forward with a business deal or whatever. It's a very diverse word.
Yeah, we had that episode. It was quite a while back, but it was probably one of my favorites. Besides all the solo episodes that I've done about the how to revolutionize your meetings. That one he talked about using interjections in your meetings to kind of spice things up, and I think that's one that I've been starting our meetings with. Is I just start everybody chants it like together. We use it as an interjection and just win, and it just gets the room going.
Really does.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first question, and I answered it. So let's do the second one, so I can do the same.
Number 2, what's the one book you suggest everyone to read?
This is funny. You know why? Because there is no one book. Okay, that's why.
Why is that?
Because there's more than one book.
I love it.
Let that sink in.
That makes so much sense. Wow, I can't believe I didn't think of that.
So but it was like, okay, so let's say you got like 2 hours left on the planet, and you're like, what is the one book that I should read before, I croak? I would say don't read a book. Like that would be a waste of your last 2 hours on Earth, and you probably couldn't even get through the whole thing unless you're a really fast reader like I am.
Or it was a 2-hour book.
Yeah, but I feel like 2-hour books don't usually lend a lot of value or quality. So
that's kind of long.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say don't. Like, that's why they make VAs, so they can read books to you. Okay, it's a whole thing. Like, it is a complete industry nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's so hard to narrow it down to just one book. Plus, considering the fact you have so many books that you've written, trying to narrow it down to one is like trying
Well,
to fit the ocean into a shot glass.
yeah, or pick a favorite VA or something like that. It's not possible. So, yeah, but I would, you brought up my books, and I wasn't going to do that because I'm kind of a humble guy. But since you brought them up, I just will mention that if it has my name like on the cover, like that's probably a pretty good bet right there.
Yeah, just grab the nearest Brad Johnson book. You'll be good.
Yep. And there's so many to choose from. You really like just, it's kind of like, they say that you're never more than like 3 feet away from a spider. Like chances are you're never more than 3 feet away from a Brad Johnson book.
Oh, at least. Yeah. That's a good rule to live by.
And you got to watch out because they'll bite you with the entrepreneur bug. It's spiders. Not a bug,
and you'll turn into an entrepreneur superhero.
Yeah. But it would be you get the arachnid bite from my book that would. Okay, next question.
Number 3. What's one powerful piece of advice for living a fulfilling life?
Now, people talk about a fulfilling life, and I don't think they know what they're talking about because what is a fulfilling life? Like that's what you really got to ask first. What is a fulfilling life? So if you take the word fulfilling apart, what you get is full and filling. And obviously, it's talking about the etymology of it actually comes from the pastry world when they would like put a filling in a pastry, like a Danish or something like that. And if the really cheap guys, they squirt some air in there, and so it'd just be like fluffy with air, and there wouldn't be any filling. So a full filling was actually when they put all just filling and no air in there.
Wow, I did not know that. It's so interesting. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of how donut holes, I just read this the other day, are actually just they're not holes. They're actually the plug to the hole of what used to be a round disc of dough,
James,
which became a donut.
Not related in any way, shape, or form. Okay, we're talking about a fulfilling life.
We were talking about pastries though.
Donuts don't figure into fulfilling life because they're so high in carbs. My goodness.
Okay.
How could you even? Okay, we're not even going there. Okay, so fulfilling. So that's what it's all about. It's about not putting the air into your life. And if you don't have air in your life, then you're probably going to be either underwater or in outer space. And you know what? When you're in outer space, you've like blown right through the stratosphere. So that's what a fulfilling life looks like.
Right. Also, just go to space. Is that what you're saying?
Well, just take your dreams like beyond the stars. That's what I'm saying. So
got it.
The powerful piece of advice right there that I am saying quite eloquently is that shoot for the stars. That's the key to living a fulfilling life. So there's no air in your pastries. All right.
Love it.
Next question.
Number 4. What's one piece of important financial advice?
Oh, I love getting asked this one. And James, we have got an episode coming up with a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, and I know people are going to love it. I cannot wait to get to that, but we're going to really just dive deep into this whole financial picture and what good finance things look like. But before we get to that, in this episode, we're just going to touch on it. The piece of financial advice that I give everybody. Every time they're like, Brad, how did you get so rich? And I said, I didn't even try. Okay,
there you go.
That's the piece of financial advice right there. Is that you don't try because what happens when you try? You get tired. And what happens when you get tired? You sleep. And what happens when you sleep? You can't make money when you're
exactly.
Unless you have VAs doing it for you. But yeah, it's basically the whole. It's kind of one of those Chinese proverbs that one of my senseis once taught me. He said that he who tries too hard will fail. And that's what I tell people. If you're trying too hard, you're going to fail. But at the same time, you never stop hustling.
Wow. So don't try, but also at the same time, hustle really hard.
Yeah. Wow. If you can master that, it's kind of a Zen thing.
It's such a crazy dichotomy.
Oh my goodness. It's so amazing. All right. Next one.
Number 5. What's one skill that everyone must have? Besides podcasting, of course.
Yeah, that is definitely one that's got to be on the list. Number 2, though, on that list, I'm going to say is marketing. Now, we just did an episode about this. This is like a new concept that nobody's heard about before. And I don't know, honestly, how people survived without it until now. But
I know.
I don't think they have, really, honestly.
So much untapped potential in the world without it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one skill. And for those of you who don't know, that is a combination of smart, marketing and sales and marketing all at the same time. So smart sales and marketing all combined into one. If you can master that, you master life, and you'll become a winner.
You literally become the master of everything, and everything becomes yours, and that's how you become wealthy.
Well, James, don't oversell it, because you don't want to get people's hopes up too much. Okay. So yeah, if you haven't, go back and listen to that episode on marketing. There's just a couple episodes ago. Go listen to it. You'll figure out how I give you a masterclass on how to do it, and it's pretty easy once you're a winner like me. Next one.
Number 6. What's one thing that you regret starting late or wished you had started earlier?
I'm gonna say cryotherapy.
It's a great one.
And also the deep tissue hydromassaging. That man, I used to do deep tissue hydromassaging on a pretty regular basis, but I was just using distilled water, and now I've switched to actually using winning liquefied as my hydro there.
Oh, it just transforms it completely. Well, and isn't that's just an attachment to the what is it, the water closet of freedom? What did we call the, what was the shower product? I can't remember.
We're still workshopping the name,
Okay. We still have so many products. It's just hard to keep up with what it's called, and
the cubicle of freedom,
multi-million-dollar endeavors.
Yeah, cubicle of freedom. So, but yeah, that also comes with a giant tank that you can just fill up with winning liquefied. So that's awesome. All right, next one. That's the answer there. Just start your cryotherapy, start your hydromassaging now, make it happen.
Yeah, you won't regret it. And number 7. What's one thing you learned the hard way?
Nothing. That's a dumb question.
Well, but I would say, Brad, you probably learned the hard way that not everyone is like you.
I don't like to dwell on that, because
it is sad. It really is.
It's painful. It really is to my soul and like who I am as a person.
Yeah. Sorry to bring that up, but I think that's the answer.
Yeah, it was a rude awakening. I don't know how people live without.
I'm so sorry.
Like me. Yeah,
listen to the show, everyone. Please,
come on, people, share the show. Somebody needs this. All right, let's rock it through these. Let's get these out of here.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way. Number 8. What's one thing that should never be forgotten?
Your keys. Next one.
Good. Number 9. What's one thing we must not think twice on spending?
Okay, so what's one thing we must not think twice on? Okay, who wrote this sentence?
I don't know.
What's one thing we must not think? You spend money, okay? That's what you spend.
Well, first of all, you spend money on education and learning English. That's really important.
Yeah, for these people.
So you can write sentences.
Give me a break. Okay, so yeah. But I think I get what they're trying to say with the sentence. What is one thing we must not think twice on spending money upon which we are spending something? So I would say,
right.
You can't let yourself down on a good pair of shoes. If you're at your standing desk and you have a bad pair of shoes, like, say goodbye to your back, because it's not coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Write that down, James.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay, so yeah, get Nike Airs, nothing less. They got to be, and I don't really have science to back this up, but it has been shown that they actually put more time and effort into the autographed versions of the Nike Airs. So you don't want to just get a normal one, because the autographed ones are actually, they may be a couple $1,000s more, but it's totally worth it.
Love it. Great advice.
Right. Next one.
All right, this is number 10. What's your definition of life in approximately 50 words?
Okay. When I talk for a living, and people pay me big money to do it, like all the keynotes and stuff. So I don't put limits on the numbers of words that exit my mouth. I can
count for you if you want.
Okay. Well, let's do this. I'm going to give you the definition of life. Here we go.
Okay.
The definition of
1,
life
2, 3,
is to
4, 5, 6,
have
7,
the amount
8,
of
9, 10,
freedom that you
12,
are
13,
looking for in
14,
order
15,
to
16,
maximize
17. Wait, was
your
that,
ability
was
to do the things that freedom would allow you to do while winning in a way
I think that's 50.
Makes. See, that's why I don't count words. Man, who wrote these questions? My goodness.
I don't know.
Just cut that one out. I don't.
Okay.
That was dumb.
Yeah, that was lame.
Wow. Okay. All right, so that was great. I totally knocked those questions out of the water and the park as well. It was like a water park in which I knocked the questions out of. So it is time now for us to take a little trip to a place that I love. It's dear and near to my heart, but it's dear and near to everywhere that you are if you are somewhere where there is wellness. So come with me. Just dip your mind bucket. It's empty. It's dry. It's parched. It needs to be dunked into the wellness well. So come with me and be well at the wellness well with Sky. Excuse me, Sky.
Brian, are you okay?
It is so good to see you, my friend. How are you today?
Concerned for you.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of wellness flowing through
Excellent.
me. Nothing to worry about at all, I'm sure. So yeah, when you sent me the show notes for this, I was just like, wow, I can't believe we haven't covered this yet. We've done how many wellness wells, and I can't believe this hasn't come up yet.
I mean, we've been dipping into the well for quite some time, but yeah, this is an important topic that I think we really need to make sure that we get in and make sure people know the importance of this information.
This is one of those heavy truths that just kind of like sediment just kind of floated down to the bottom of the well. So we're dredging it up and dumping it down the brains of people right now. So why don't you just fill the people in on what it is they're missing out on?
Yeah, so today we're talking about the top reasons why you should own a pet gourd, okay? And that may seem kind of strange to people, but a lot of the best health advice is. That's just how it works. So there's a few reasons why keeping a gourd with you at all times is a fantastic way to make your life more abundant. I've done this for a few months at a time. I did intermittent fasting and carried a gourd around with me, and the experience was just phenomenal. So the first reason that I would give for why having a pet gourd is so important, and something that's at least worth trying, is that gourds help you form relationships with other people around you. Because you know what a great conversation starter it is when you're carrying a gourd around? Especially if you get a very large one that's very cumbersome, it really just opens up some amazing opportunities to talk to people and tell them about how unhealthy they are and how you can help them.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. It's like a built-in like advertising sign right there.
It really is. Yeah, you can really just break the ice with that gourd and just reach people in a whole new way.
Even literally, you could break ice if you needed to with a gourd.
You could.
Depending on how big it was.
You could try it.
All right. Okay, so that's the reason number one. let's if people aren't convinced yet, let's give them a couple more reasons.
Yeah, so I would also say gourds can improve your health. Don't eat them. Like, never eat a gourd. I don't know why anybody would do that. But they can improve your health. Like, just the smell of the gourd when you're carrying it around, it's great. You can use it as a weight while you're walking around. There's just a number of ways that it can improve your health as you're walking. You can also use the gourd as an instrument. That is a fantastic way to improve your life as you carry this gourd around. You can bore holes into it and create a flute or some kind of drum out of it if you feel like. And you can hold concerts, and just there's so many options that you can have when you're carrying a gourd around.
It's so crazy to me that people see a vegetable when there's so much more to it. It's just, man, that's amazing. Okay,
it's a true companion.
Yeah. Okay, so that's reason number two. Let's hit them with reason number three. I love this one.
Number three is gourds are great for all ages. Okay, the gourd is one of the most friendly vegetables. Each vegetable has its own personality. The way that it expresses itself is really dynamic. With the bumpy exterior, it's just very entertaining. Old people like it. Young people like it. People that are in between young and old like it. And so it's just a great way to like connect with people you might not connect with on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And these are a little out of order. We don't really have time to go over all of them, but I really want you to hit number 7 and 8. I think those, there's so many reasons, but we just got to hit some of these main ones.
Yeah, so this is a a practical course that you can take where it walks through all these different steps. So we're just pulling some of the highlights out of this.
Yeah.
Two more. Gourds make excellent aids for medical support groups. Okay.
yes.
So if you're recovering from an addiction of some kind, you're having suicidal thoughts, you have a bloody nose, just carrying around a gourd will just improve your situation so much. Just having that companionship is fantastic. And also, when another thing that's fantastic about gourds is they might not be able to speak, but they hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
I just want you to remember that every vegetable that you have in your house can hear you, but gourds are especially good at this.
Yeah.
They understand and they know what you're going through, and they're always going to be there for you until they rot and you have to throw them away.
Wow. That is amazing, Sky. I love this. This is why we have you on the show, bro. Because just like this sort of thing, like you won't get this anywhere else. I think I'm pretty safe in saying that.
So true. So true.
All right. Well, thanks, Sky, for being on the show today. Really appreciate it. We'll have you back on soon to give us some more health tips.
Thanks, Brad.
All right. I'm going to go and get myself a gourd. All right. Well, that was awesome. James, I think we need to get you a gourd, too. I think you could use some of that emotional support. I hear you crying sometimes on a voice calls and stuff. So I think you need some help.
I was using a pumpkin before, so maybe I should try the gourd.
No, it's the gourd, man. I mean, there's something about the resonance of its fibers that really, yes, it's out of this world. All right, man, that was a great episode, if I do say so myself, which I just did, because that's what came out of my mouth. And what is also coming out of my mouth is a plea to you to do what you know that you need to do, and that is to share this podcast, because there are some losers out there who need this information. They need help, like a lot of it. So go ahead and tag them in a social media post with the Brad Johnson Show. And, maybe I'll send them something special because I've got a lot of money. So thanks to that, guys, so much for listening today and sharing the show. We'll talk to you next time. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to The Brad Johnson Show, where every episode we bring you tips, tricks, interviews, advice, and answers to fix the mess that is your life, while helping you stop being a loser and start winning in business, health, and your personal life. Show us your face, tweet us your tweets, and Insta your grams at Brad Johnson Show. The Brad Johnson Show. Winners only.
If there's one thing that I know, it's business. But I know many things. And I also know that you don't need to worry, because you aren't the only one. You aren't the only business that needs help. You aren't the only person that has a hard time finding the right help at the right price. This is where Business Bloodline becomes your bloodline to temporary and permanent staffing. Business Bloodline specializes in hiring internet workers to creatively solve problems for your business. Business Bloodline does all the vetting and only delivers candidates that make sense for your needs and at a cost that you can afford. But 60 seconds isn't enough for me to tell you why hiring through Business Bloodline is safer, cheaper, and less time-consuming. I would rather show you. To get more information or business consultation, visit businessbloodline.com. If the job can be done on the computer, Business Bloodline can find a match. Visit businessbloodline.com and be sure to tell them that you heard about them on The Brad Johnson Show to get 10% off your first hire. businessbloodline.com. And remember to tell them Brad sent you.